Coach Helen for YouFit Studio. So now what? I'm trying to work out how many years it's in. Five. How many years have we been doing this? Jeez. 17, 8. Oh, so we're on like almost 5 years of me in this business. This fantastical business of health and fitness. To be honest, it feels more like 15. That's mainly through the hours of work more than anything else. However, I've said about the amount of hundreds of clients I've worked with now, and the fair few I'm working with at the minute as well. Topic fair. Now, the hundreds of clients I work with over the years, there really is. I've talked about some in lives before. Like this is number 200 and something odd live this year. Thank you, technology, for holding up with me. Essentially, there's some commonality things that we go through, and a lot of these I've actually taken through in detail, like I did yesterday when I talked about how people start to comment on your body, like they've got the right. However, that is part of the journey, and also this is definitively part of the journey, which is talking about sustainable results. Now, and I will be talking about comparison as well. Comparison being the thief of joy and all that. That's also coming up on one of mine, to be sure. However, early on there's a comparison towards other people who are also maintaining or sustaining results. And for somebody quite fresh into the journey of losing weight or getting healthier, or whatever you want to use, it's often, and understandably, they hold these people up as fantastic and brilliant at what they do. Now, I will go into this more in depth in Mother Live in terms of this. However, we tend to always go for people when we compare who are like light years ahead of where we are right now, right? It is just what we do. We very rarely compare ourselves to something which is within reach. We compare ourselves to something that is completely over our ability, skill set, financial abilities, whatever it is. We often do that. And early on in the journey, that is often what somebody would do to somebody who is way, way ahead. And I'm talking years in their journey. They will often compare themselves to that individual and go, why can't I get there? What is it they do? How is it they stay the same way they are? Like, is it some kind of magic or voodoo? Or how is it that I can't get there? I want to get there, right? Now, I said I'm going to go into comparisons and being the thief of all joy and all that in its own life, because I do think it really needs it, because it's also something that happens. However, in terms of sustainable results, when we compare to somebody far ahead, what we see is like the classic, when I talk about the classic iceberg. Now, you would have seen, like if you work in business, you would have seen this. This is wanky kind of business thing, but it is true. It's the iceberg. We'll see people who sustain the same weight, and what we'll see is just the top above the water. We'll see them always looking in shape, always looking like food is not a challenge, always looking like they're prepping days ahead, always looking great, always having their hair straightened, probably comparing myself to those people. However, they always seem light years ahead of where we are, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the end result and not the work underneath. So some of the things underneath the water is what I'm going to go through today to understand what sustainable results actually is and where they come from, and what actually goes on beneath the water, if you like, for you to see everything on top. Because most people want to get there, right? If I talk to anybody at the beginning of their journey, it's pretty much not exactly the same, but uniformly, I want to lose weight, Helen. I want to get into... All right, thanks, Kate. It is 5:07. Thanks for joining. I have to recap. Hey. Good thing I love you, isn't it? I lost my... Kate, you put me right off. Next we telling me you're having steak and chips tonight with still and sauce. It really put me off. Okay. First thing we kind of usually say relatively soon, if not on the first sit down. I want to lose weight. I want to feel good. I want to tone up. I don't want to just stay the same. I want to stay the same. I want to look after it, be healthy, look good, right? It always follows the same journey. It's like clear, beginning, middle, and in the client's head, it's an end. This is the other thing about this. It's a clear end. We've got lots of those at the minute. It's like, well, I'll get there, and then I'll just stay the same. I'll just stay the same. Well, no, these people, this is about sustaining results. or maintaining results, and what does that actually mean between the two? Do a quickie recap for Kate, just because it's Kate. So Kate, basically, people start the journey compared to people who've been doing it for Jeffing ages, and always compare way above their current skill capacity. Always get there in the end. So it doesn't matter who they are. If I'm working like I've been for some clients now, 3, 4 years, going on 5 years, you unlucky souls, been with me for 5 years. 5 years, still with me. Go you, you've got through my TET speak or inability to spell. So this is what it's about. It's not a secret, right? Everything below the iceberg is not a secret, because I'm going to tell you now, because it's not a secret. It's not a secret. However, it's a multiple of different ability, skill sets, and learning capacities that's put somebody there. So, essentially, someone who's been sustaining or maintaining their weight has been through enough experiences at this point to go through the change cycle enough to understand it. Now, this doesn't mean that they have done something special or dealt with a scenario in some kind of Yoda-esque way and risen above it and sailed through it. In fact, no. All those people would have been where you are at the start of the journey, where they've literally just gone, Helen, I fucked it up. A whole bag of McVitie's chocolate, help. To name but a few of those instances where there's probably been, over that period of time, God, I mean, you're going on 30 to 50 of those, probably, is a broad thing, right? Where at some point, everything's gone to pot. Something's happened with their child, something's happened with a relative or parent, something's happened with their car, something's happened with their foot, something's happened with stuff going in their mouths or going drinking. Like, all of this has happened. It's combined over and over again. They haven't managed to get through unscathed as such. They haven't had an easy ride, as most people kind of presume. And it's like, oh, they find it so easy. Oh, no, people. What happens is they will go through the same things that you do, the same, I want to say errors, they're not, they're learning experiences, the same learning experiences, because that's what they are. They go through learning experiences. The difference about sustainable results is someone will take from the experience rather than just doing amnesia, where they go up, just draw a line under it, or through it, or around it, or all over it, like this, like it never flipping happens, and just move on and make the same mistake again. That is what some people will do before they start working with us, because it's like, okay, this happened, let's actually talk about what happened before that happened. What were you feeling? What happened? When did you stop enjoying it? When will it happen again? What's the triggers, etc.? And then we'll say, do you know what? Learning done, let's move on, and let's openly just expect this to happen again, because you've got a trigger. So rather than just ignore it and pretend it don't exist and not get to the root bottom of it, it's not like, you know, we're going to sit down and analyse its death. We're just going to catalogue this happened. Now, people who really maintain and sustain over a long period of time have, I like to call it like here's a back catalogue. It's like, you know, like old school though, not like now where it's like, oh, it's in the cloud. I dare you, if you're a client, say that to Heather and say that to Coach Heather and just watch her melt. If any of you are doing a Met class or a strength class in the next 48 hours, just unmute yourself and go, Heather, is this in the cloud? And just see her lose her shit, because she just doesn't understand it. However, it is like one of those old school catalogues where you're just kind of flicking through. Clients go straight to previous experience, know where the trigger was, understand it, and then decide, right, consciously decide whether to keep partaking in that particular behaviour, or as they get more experienced, in fact, find a coping mechanism, put the teeth back in, a mechanism for coping, hey, won that one through, and then move forward. So they keep going through the change cycle. Like, I'm not going to go into the change cycle in depth because I've done enough of that. There is a whole Facebook Live on that alone. What they do is they adapt to it, they change it, they see it coming, right? Really great sustainable results is somebody who can see then this happening again ahead of time, because they can sense the trigger before it happens. And then they choose to either walk into it or not, right? So you can start to plan ahead. They practice, right? I love this. They practice self-love. It's not just cuddling, although it is. In some cases, the self-cuddle. Don't mean kid. You're going to go, oh, I'm a snog. Yes, it is some self-love, self-compassion. And in that, it's kind of a contradiction slightly, but it is kind of looking forward instead of looking back at something. So when I say, let's talk about it, accept it, then move on forward from it, that's what I mean. You take a learning, you move forward. So someone who has sustainable results looks forward because they're always planning ahead, not dwelling on what's happened, because they understand, except they can't actually change it now. We all can say that and go, we know what's happened now, I can't do anything about it. In reality, though, also a percentage of us still still stuck on it, still thinking about it, still brain's ticking over on it. So there's not always that moving forward element. So sustainable results is someone who looks forward rather than backwards, and practices self-love, so doesn't beat themselves up over something that's happened. Just says, I understand myself better now. It's okay. I can move forward with this, right? That's better than going, you should not have done that, Helen. That 7th ice cream was a mistake. It's very different, right? It makes me feel like I shouldn't have had the ice cream. I wanted the ice cream. I would have had it, all right? People who are sustainable or can maintain and sustain results do not seek perfection, because they understand that they are the better or best version of themselves, not the best version of someone else they look up to or compare to. They are seeking the best version of themselves. I'm going to repeat that again because that could be alive in itself. I've not planned that one yet. So seeking the best version of themselves, not to be the best. That's a bit like the Simon Sinek Infinite Games one as well, right? What I talked about. It's not being the best there is out there, because then what you're going to do? What do you do if you were the best? If you were the best, what would you do? Get bored. Seeking to be better or the best version of yourself over being downright hands down the best, right? Know, right? These people know when to be, big key word, when to be resilient. It's not being resilient all the time. It's understanding that, right, I can see ahead, I can plan ahead and see that I'm going to be particularly challenged, either emotionally, mainly emotionally usually, or physically, but mainly emotionally. Christmas is coming, people. We can mix with family. We've avoided them for 12 months, right? Hasn't that brought out something for my clients? That is also another live I've got to do running up to Christmas. Dealing with relatives when we've not seen them for 9 months. However, to be resilient is to know that, right, I've got a challenge, I have a strategy. I can sustain and maintain my results because I have a strategy in place that allows me to be resilient in this particular environment and setting, and I know what skill set or tools to go to. That is someone who can maintain results. They see, right? See, choices are about health. Cannot say. These are bangers, by the way. I'm giving this all out for free. Do you know how much clients pay a lot for this? But you're all getting it free. See choices about health. See choices about health, right? And by that, let me explain that. Again, I could do that as a live. A lot of people will make choices based on how much weight will I lose if I do this. If I walk for another 5 hours, how many pounds will I lose if I walk to Cornwall and back? Or, okay, I won't have this donut because I'll lose weight. Or, I've lost some weight, so I'll have that donut. So the decisions are based on gaining or losing weight. But actually, somebody who can maintain results, look at their decisions around health. So they'll know what is healthier for them from a nutritional point of view or exercise point of view, because they've been doing it for a long time. That's not to say they can then turn it into a health perspective, because they want to stay in that position. Going back to my initial point right at the top, same thing, right? Beginning, middle, and end. Want to lose weight, want to tone up, want to stay the same weight, or then maintain it. Okay? It's not a finish line where someone crosses over it. No. You'll make choices then that are about health and not losing weight, because making those choices have a byproduct anyway. Again, I keep tying all my lives in. Again, it's the same as saying focus on outcome-related habits over results-related habits. As I need to lose a pound this week, or what I'm going to do is ensure I drink 3 litres of water a day, because that makes me know that I'm not mixing my hunger and fullness cues with my hormones. Fantastic. My outcome is I lose weight. It's the same thing. Seeing a choice about, I'm going to be healthy and drink a lot of water because that keeps me hydrated, also ensures digestion is great, and my hormones are sorted. Boom, it's about health. So make choices about health over losing or gaining weight as a decision or deciding factor, and you can maintain and sustain weight just purely by doing that alone, if I'm absolutely honest. And I just shot myself in the foot because I went into my next one, because it was about focusing on habits, right? It's the same thing. They tie together very nicely. You make choices based on healthy habits over, I need to lose weight, I need to lose 2 pounds by Christmas. If I'm honest, it's probably more, let's be fair. Cheese boards are already out. Sainsbury's is like, oh, that's what happened when I walked into that aisle. And get this, Tesco's even has, get this, sit down people, you know exactly, that'll be a vegan Christmas aisle. I was just walking down my trolley like this. I don't even care what it is. If I see it, it's going in. It's going in. I'm storing. Never says going to get toilet roll. You get bottles of water. No, I've got an advent calendar and a Christmas pudding. I'm ready. Right. Recap. Let's recap it. It's about time. So recap. What are sustainable results? Okay. Again, always compare to people way far ahead in your knowledge and skills of being. Going, I want to be like them. They make it look like a piece of piss. Oh, no, hombre. No, not as straightforward as that. It is a little bit harder. It's so much below the surface. Right, all these stuff I've gone through, this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 things? These people probably do about 20. Now, what I'm saying is they've been through the same journey as pattern as anybody starting out at the beginning. So you just rest assured, every single client goes through this, and every single client of mine learns this. And no worries. You're concerned about where you are in the whole picture, you will get there. So, these people who sustain learn, right? They learn from everything that goes through the journey, through the results, through the progress, through the moments of, why did I do that, right? They still look at it, learn, take it forward. They look forward, not backwards. They don't beat themselves up over it, create guilt. Actually, they adapt, they change. They become a predictor of their own behaviours, and then they are resilient or know when to deploy resilience to say, this is going to be an issue. Guess what? I'm not going to approach it like I'm a perfectionist, because I'm not, because I'm human. I'm going to approach it with the skill sets and the tools and the knowledge that I already know, and then make choices that are about my health and not about an outcome. I'm going to make choices that focus on a habit that will give me the outcome I'm looking for, which ensures I can do it consistently if I focus on one step of it or one element rather than being perfect at everything. Ta-da! And that was sustainable results. Tomorrow is Thursday, and tomorrow is about empowerment. I don't know if I have to do that. Empowerment. What is empowerment? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Join me tomorrow at 5 standard, and we're going to talk about that. In the meantime, as always, sayonara.